What's going on, HPP fam? Welcome to another video. I haven't picked up the camera this morning. It is at the end of the day, not the beginning, but let's recap on what we started with this week. So we moved the 51 off the lift. That's another build series. You guys are gonna check that out. I think I've already posted one video, or I'm going to by the time you see this. So click the link, I'll post it here so you can check out what's going on with that. This morning I was working on the Pontiac GTO you guys see me tearing apart last video, and you guys see me pulling the head off of it, and the reason why we're doing that is because we were going after dead cylinders, two dead cylinders, number 4 and number 6. Number 4 had no compression, number 6 only had like 75 or 100, I don't know, look back in the video. Got the car sitting right here. So long story short, checked the cylinder head, everything was good with the cylinder head. Looked at the top of the pistons, everything looked okay, didn't see any signs of broken rings or anything out of place. So that got me thinking. I talked to the customer, and he bought that engine from another, stay out of there, it's loud, from a machine shop, a local machine shop. Didn't have a cam in it, or he ended up putting the cam out of his old motor in it. I don't know, bunch of malarkey. Long story short, somebody came to his house and put a cam in and lift and push rods in from something else, and no one, unbeknownst to me, did the due diligence of checking push rod length. And so what's crazy is the fact that we only had 2 cylinders that had an issue and not more than 2. I got my push rod checker out, and lo and behold, the push rods were way too long. It was hanging the valve open, and that was the problem. So we ordered, we hit up our friends at Texas Speed, and we ordered another set of push rods for it. They'll probably be here tomorrow, or maybe the next day, I'm not sure. So hopefully this week you guys will see the GTO up and running on all 8 cylinders. And then bring you back inside. We've got our next project in, and that is this C5 Corvette that we are doing a Procharger on with an A&A bracket. So I just backed it on the lift. This thing, let me take a look. I don't know if it has headers on it or not. I just backed it in. Yep, so it looks like this thing's got a set of long tubes already on it. And we know it has a camshaft. Go ahead and fire this thing up so you guys can hear it. So, of course, the exhaust on this thing, it's got a little camshaft in it, chopping. So soon, we'll have a Procharger on it. So that's what we got kicking around. And, well, I think, I'm not sure if I already talked about this, so before I sign off for the day, let's talk about this. So this is the Hemi motor that we took out of the black car. And John disassembled it and found number 6 rod bearing was spun. So we talked to the customer, we're going to go ahead and do drop-in pistons and rods. I believe the crank's going to be fine. I'll let our machinist let us know whether that's okay or not, but and then we're going to put a cam in it. So this will get drop-in pistons, rods, and a cam, and then we'll be sticking that one back in the car. But that's all we got for today. See you guys tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get the Procharger started.
The shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today.
Okay guys, so I wanted to touch base with you guys on something really quick with the Procharger install on these C5s. In the instructions it says that if you undo the rack and pinion bolts, lower the subframe slightly, you'll be able to pivot the rack out of the way. Now that may be the case on a manual car, but in this case this is an automatic car, and I fought with it for probably a good hour and a half. Didn't film it. I was getting frustrated, but fought with it for about an hour and a half and could not get it out of the way enough to get the impact on there to get that bolt off. This car has already been cammed, so it had an ARP bolt in it and everything was properly torqued, RTV'd, the whole 9 yards, and it did not want to come off unless I could get that gun directly straight on there with the socket. No extensions, no swivels, no extra stuff that would deteriorate the torque of the gun. So just to show you guys, I went ahead and removed the rack entirely, kind of pushed it over to the side here, and then all I gotta do is flip it back in, put the 2 lines back on, hook the steering column back up, and then the 2 tie rod ends. But as you can see, we have already pinned the crank. So I drilled it out, pinned the crank. Now I'm gonna clean this area up, clean the ARP bolt up, put it back on, and torque it back down. And then we can move on with putting the rack back together, putting all this stuff back together, so that way we can move forward with the blower install. So guys, we've got the rack all back together now, and everything's put back, tightened back up in its place. ARP bolts back in there and torqued down. So now, as you can see, draining the radiator fluid. So we got to change this cradle out on the Procharger setup and put a new radiator hose on here. So I'm getting all the coolant out. So take a few more bolts out while this is draining, and then we'll get that cradle changed out. So now we've removed the radiator support underneath. We can now modify our lower radiator hose and put our new radiator support bracket on the car. So let's do that. Okay guys, let's take a quick overview. So we've got our cradle on, our radiator fans assembly. You look up here, we've relocated our horns and wire loomed the harness because we had to extend the harness for that. And then we've also got our radiator hose extended, our AC lines bent, transcooler lines bent. Had to bend all that stuff to gain clearance to move the radiator to help lay the radiator out more flat. We've got all that stuff back together, so now we can move on to the bracket. So guys, I forgot to turn the camera back on for mounting the blower, but I'm going to end up taking it back off due to the belt being too short. So I want to make a public service announcement on this too, which I knew better, being that we did an ANA bracket on this C5 last year. That car's got an F1C on it. That's Royce's. Y'all's. Anyways, with the orientation, there's a slight orientation change with the ANA bracket. It causes the belt to be too short. So we got a longer belt coming. And it's actually not the orientation. The blower's in the same spot. It's the pulleys for the tensioner on an ANA bracket, which take up so much extra slack on the belt that it causes it to be too short. So I'll actually, let me see. I think I've got the belt part number. So this part number right here will work for you if you're got a standard Procharger kit and you put an ANA bracket on it because you're tired of the belt slipping. But anyways, in the meantime, while I wait on the belt to show up, I'm gonna go ahead and get the fuel injectors changed. So let's do that now.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back.